Why is it that people? Where does that mystique of ACRID come from? Why is it people? Because you were so prolific, they thought you were a nut job, just going for it with one goal in mind. Was it?
Yeah. So like I had different goals like at different times. Like sometimes it was to do like loads of pieces. So I finished up on about 190 train pieces. Yeah, but there's other times I wanted every carriage, like with bombing. And there's other times also I looked at little Mets. I looked at individual carriages. I'd hit each individual carriage like 6 times. There was tags in there from early '89, mid '89, late '89, '90.
What?
Different parts of '90.
Wow.
I could see that I'd hit that carriage like at different phases, like over those 2 or 3 years.
What does that do to you? You're such an interesting character for this question. Like, what does that do to the psyche when you see something and you probably don't even remember you ever doing it, but yet it's there and it's faded glory of tagging or whatever. That must be a real trip.
I've got quite clear memories. I can remember like nearly everything.
Can you?
Yeah, because I've not done drugs and stuff.
For
whatever reason.
So it was a bonus, yeah.
Yeah. I can remember like nearly everything. Like even when I stopped, I didn't have all my photos and outlines. I could actually memorise some of the outlines and remember which yards I'd done them in. So if I had to draw them again, like even now, there's an outline I've done at Northumberland Park. I could draw that out again, even though I don't have photographs of it.
What?
And I used to change my outlines all the time. Generally I wouldn't repeat outlines.
Killa Kela podcast. KillaKelaOfficial.com.
Street Culture TV.
Instagram UK Frontline.
Beatbox created.
Killa Kela.
And we're here to talk about world music and street culture.
Killa Kela podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, Killa Kela podcast, live and direct, Central London, or as central as you need to be, could be, choose to be. You don't want to be anywhere else, and you know it. Okay, people, our sponsors, the mighty GK Nifty Heads, have 10,000 play-to-earn Graph Punks NFTs to give away. Get ready as London's white trash goes blockchain digital with Bitcoin Cash tokens locked into them to claim. Get yourselves over to the website gkniftyheads.com and play to earn now. Inside the house, we have a gentleman from the early 90s era, predominant, a force, a tour de force, alongside his crew RCS. You know the names, you know the game. Graph is in the building. ACRID!
Hello.
How are you?
Yeah, really good. Yeah.
So yeah, you're not London anymore. You've travelled far and wide.
Yeah. Wherever like family work take me. So yeah.
Wherever you lay your hat, kind of thing.
Yeah. That's one way of putting it. Yeah.
You come from an era that isn't oftenly talked about, and particularly from the podcast point of view, because the 90s was that kind of moment of transformation in the scene. There was a lot of things happening, and as you mentioned, often overlooked.
Yeah, I started off at a young age in the 80s, and then I started off doing wall pieces in my local area. Mm-hmm. And then I moved on to trains because I had a few setbacks in wall pieces. I tried doing a few like legal routes, and it'd be like, we have to put it in front of a meeting, and it could be 6 months. We have to approve of what you have to do, and
It's long.
Yeah, that's how it was back in the day. Like so yeah, I moved on to trains in the like mid '88. I think the first time I'd done a train was there was an old train depot in Finsbury Park opposite Michael Sobel's. That was quite near my nan's house, and I used to pop in there, look at the pieces that were on the walls there. And one time I popped in, I bumped into Sub, Sign and Core. And there's a train laid up at some lights. I had a can of black paint with me. They had some pens. We bombed a train there. And then...
So how old were you at that time?
I would have been about 15. And then... so that was that for a while. And then I was checking out trains, doing a few little insides here and there. So in 88, I had a girlfriend that moved house from where I was in Hackney up to Enfield. So I used to go and see her, and I kind of spotted Northumberland Park depot.
As you do.
Yeah, as you do. You're looking at the train window.
Yeah.
So I went there one night with my paint, but unfortunately it was car plan. I didn't really understand about paint sinking into metal. It was like a low quality paint. But I went there by myself. Went there about 2 o'clock in the morning. Started trying to do a piece, but the paint was just disappearing into the train.
Fuming.
So it was still like a learning process because I didn't really have anyone to learn off. So that was a bit of a downer.
And you were writing Acid at the time, right?
Yeah, I think it was around that crossover period. So I've been writing Acid in Hackney for about a year or two. So I was quite big up on the streets with it. But then as I came on trains, I noticed there was 2 other writers writing Acid. So I thought, I'm not going to be able to get ahead of them that type of way because they're already, doing a lot of insides and tracks and that. So I thought I'd have to change my name. So I went back to a drawing board. I liked the letters that I had, but I wanted something that's quite similar, but with a really good meaning. To add that kind of like that aggressive. Macho that you and the name you remember.
And at this point, I must raise my hand in asking him what the word acrid meant. it does have a real definition in a dictionary, funnily enough.
Yeah, so it means like bitter or pungent. So you'd use it for something like tyres that are alight. The smoke that comes off that would be described as acrid. So you also get the word acrimonious comes from it. So if you're going through a bit of divorce, they'll describe it as acrimonious, where 2 sides are fighting.
That's it. Yeah. Right.
So in '88. So what happened then I think it was like early November in '88, I heard about Ray's dying in Needs and getting chased by police.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Yeah, and that kind of made me like really angry, at the police and stuff. And I thought, right, I'm doing this. I'm going into this like full on, like this is what I want to do for the next few years. So my first actual proper yard, again by myself. I did have someone to go with, but he didn't quite have the bottle. So like for a writer or other writers don't want to come with me, I will still go to the yard. It's not going to hold me back. So I went to Needham by myself on a 8 till 10. Found a way in. I pieced it with like hammer rights and smooth rights, which much stronger.
Yeah, got that sorted.
So I've done a little acrid floaty piece. Obviously, it was my first piece, and when you're that age, big mets are big.
Hell yeah, they're big now for way.
I had my A4 up, so I only literally had that about the week or two before. I just started developing my A4 up. So I'd done that beside my piece, and the next train beside me, and I wrote a little poem on the train on the next one. Just never managed to get photos of the poem. And I left out of that. I didn't take any photographs and stuff, but obviously people have taken photographs of my first piece because it ran for a few weeks, which is kind of a bit of a mad thing. And then, so I also went to school with like series. We used to be in like SBS and stuff. We were like classmates, and he was kind of into graph as well. So we started going yards like Stratford BR, the old sidings aren't there anymore. Started going places like Loughton and stuff, and then I think late '88. I knew Massacre already for a few years, and he had been brought into RCS by Mace. So Mace Part 1, Cuss 1 and Ease started RCS in mid '88. They'd brought in Rox, Massacre and Heist and some other people in. So we all started hanging around together, and then Mace asked me if I wanted to be in RCS. I said I like the name, I like the letters, and all the guys in it were like cool, So if I hadn't liked the name, I wouldn't have joined, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah. Like I couldn't put up a crew name I didn't like. It's not enough. It's got to have like Radicals is like it's almost perfect. You could do the piece. It's 9 letters. It's not like. A couple of phrases long, or you're not spelling out 20 letters. You're just spelling out 8 letters.
And the initials are lovely.
Lovely. Good initials, good letters. Like even when you do the full Radicals piece, it's good letters. It all works together. And we were all like really cool. Like we were mostly street bombers at that stage, but we're also like quite competitive within the crew as well. Because like the first time at Massacre, one of my mates from our state knew him, and we had a little paper battle.
Really?
So that's how we met. Yeah. So I think that was like '86 or something. But yeah, we used to have like friendly battles. We'd always be like competing on outlines and who could do the most bombing and stuff. And then that translated into trains as well. Like we didn't have to go yards always all together. Like sometimes Massacre and Rocks or High That would go yards, right? Bringing the other RCS in type thing, or you just couldn't connect.
I always find it interesting how close-knit within the community of graph writers were. Quite localised. You were mentioning knowing DJ Hype and Crew. They literally lived round the corner from you in your estate.
Yeah,
right?
so like DJ Hype lived on my estate on a third floor, just one of the blocks further down. We all knew him really well. Even before he was famous and stuff. Yeah, and like because the area and stuff, it was full of pirate radio stations. You had Nightingale just there. Pembury used to have there used to be multiple stations. At Nightingale, and same with Pembury Estate as well. We used to have quite a few there, because either the structure or the police were too scared to come in.
Yeah. You mentioned Shut Up and Dance as well.
Yeah. So Shut Up and Dance used to come around as well because they're really good friends with DJ Hype and that. So we used to hear the tracks even before they hit pirate radio.
It's so good
because they'd be playing them. In DJ Hype's house, and he'd have his windows wide open, and we'd be sitting in the block just underneath.
Wow.
So
gorgeous times.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. It was like everything was evolving and changing. They were chucking out bootleg records, and we were chucking out bootleg pieces, that kind of way. It was like mad times. So
a real push forward on the culture as a whole.
Yeah,
it was almost like by any means necessary. Right?
Yeah, it was evolving. It was fast moving, and so much of it was coming out of Hackney. It was like that was like we had the pirate radio stations. We had. There was hip hop there. There was DJs there. We had the graph crews and stuff. It was it was solid mad times. And then as '89 happened, we were always on it. We were on it like every month of the year. We weren't used to have crews on writers that might appear during the Easter holidays, do a little bit, and then you won't see them for a while, and then they come back in the summer holidays. And then that'd be it. As soon as September comes in, October, they'd disappear.
Yeah.
But we were out there every week, every month. You'd always see RCS pieces running or our pieces running. Every week of the year. On all different lines. We were really big on the Central Line, Little Mets. We were strong on Big Mets. And then we were bringing writers through. Brought some writers through on the Central Line, like Fret and Note and Amp and that.
Yeah. Big 'em up.
Yeah, we had Central's properly on lockdown, and Central's it's a big line, it's like 80 or 90 trains, there were good times. Because RCS was kind of was a working class crew, and that a lot of us didn't have phones, so we'd have to go and see each other, which kind of worked out better for us anyway.
You remember that? We have to knock on people's doors, or use the normal hand. Phone.
We used to mix up around various estates and stuff as well. But that was actually worked out better for us because British Transport Police were phone tapping.
Huh.
So that's how a lot of middle class writers got
bagged.
Yeah, got bagged.
Really?
Yeah. I know for a fact because my dad lived on a certain road, but there was other relatives living on the same road, but he didn't have a phone line in his house. When the police raided the house, they raided my uncle's house because that's where my dad used to pick up his phone calls.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow, so you firsthand you knew.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and you could work out anyway. What's important to the police is intelligence.
I always get the impression, ACRID, with you that you like that one up. You like that one upmanship. You like the
thrill of the chase.
Yeah, you do, don't you?
Yeah. It's the same as playing chess or something. It's about winning, but also how you win or what the bigger picture is, or the multiple messages you're sending out. I was playing a lot of games with police. I was outwitting them constantly. They never found anything on me. Never found paint on me. I wasn't caught red-handed. I didn't get done via the chemists that used to report things. I used to go to backstreet chemists, use a false name, and now I won't be handing my camera roll into Snappy Snaps or Boots and using my real name.
Intel.
Yeah, because I think because I grew up from the state and that, I knew all about the police and how they acted and what worked for them. And like even for me, if the yard was too easy, that would get me like worried. It's like, oh yeah, that yard's getting hammered. How come it's getting hammered and the police are doing nothing about it? They're doing their intelligence on it. They could be like leaving cameras in there, letting you do the yard. Like then they've got like videos of 20 different people doing the yard. Or they're scoping out how to lock it off. Like, whenever I went to a yard, I always went there with fresh eyes. I wouldn't even necessarily go in the same way. Every time I was there, it's like, does anything look different? Or is there different ways in or different ways out? I might go into the yard one way and come out a different way. I won't backtrack on myself because the police could be waiting there.
Did you ever drink when you were on a mission at all?
No, never.
I can't imagine you would. I can't imagine it be your thing.
Yeah.
You focus.
Nah, yeah, you want to be focused. You don't. Yards are dangerous places. Yeah. They are dangerous. You want to know the risks.
Yeah, exactly. Caveat: don't try any of these stories at home. It's a nice little story. It's purely cowboys and Indians. You understand? We're just talking about these ideas that may not have happened at any particular time. That's what it is. But it is risky, isn't it?
Yeah, it's that's what you got to do. You got to like work out the risks. If you're good at judging risks, you'll do well in life.
In general,
yeah. But you want the risk in your favour. Even if it's 60% in your favour, that's still all right. But ideally you want them to be like 98% in your favour.
What's the highest risk encounter that you've ever had going into a yard or any other environment?
I've done yards when there's been like 6 security guards patrolling in pairs.
Really?
Yeah, I've done that like on Big Met yards and Bakerloo yards. I got away with it a few times. Sometimes I didn't get away with it, But like I could afford to get bagged sometimes.
Can you? How?
Yeah, but, it depends how you get bagged. If you get bagged in a yard and they haven't seen you doing anything and they haven't got proof you've done anything, then that's only a trespass.
Trespass, yeah.
That's only a civil offence. So I was quite good at. I never used to leave paint behind ever. Like I used to take them back out of me, because I knew they were after fingerprints and stuff like that kind of stuff. I was pretty careful, but people think I was a nutter because I've done so many yards. But I was a careful nutter, always look at the yards like fresh, and like know the yards, get a feeling for them,
Reconnaissance.
Yeah, I'm not that kind of person that would check it out for 3 nights in a row, watch it like on 12-hour shifts, and is the security guards going around every 40 minutes type thing, because you can do that and
anything can come on top for any.
Yeah, anything
reason.
can still happen. When SAS Army do their operations, they always shit can happen on their operations, no matter how much training and well planning they're doing. Expect the unexpected.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I just went into yards, even though I knew there were security guards there, because you could go in like, they've gone back into 5 minutes, but they might come back out 10 minutes later because they think they've dropped the keys or something, or something stupid, or for whatever reason.
Why is it that people? Where does that mystique of ACRID come from? Why is it people? Because you were so prolific, they thought you were a nut job, just going for it with one goal in mind. Was that kind of the
yeah? So like I had different goals like at different times. Like sometimes it was to do like loads of pieces. So I finished up on about 190 train pieces. But there's other times I wanted every carriage, like with bombing. It depends on what mood I was in and what like the police were doing. If they were introducing more security in that'd make me want to do the security yards. I'd allow the easy yards to the younger writers, like 91 and stuff, and 90. I could see like the little Mets and the Centrals were getting smashed, and I thought, yeah, there's a great scene on there. I'm not really needed there anymore. I'm going to go on to other lines. And there's times also I looked at little Mets. I looked at individual carriages. I'd hit each individual carriage like 6 times. You know, there was tags in there from early 89, mid 89, late 89, 90.
What?
Different parts of 90.
Wow.
I could see that I'd hit that carriage like at different phases, like over those 2 or 3 years.
What does that do to you? You're such an interesting character for this question. Like, so what does that do to the psyche when you see something and you probably don't even remember you ever doing it, but yet it's there and it's faded glory of tagging or whatever. That must be a real trip.
I've got quite clear memories. I can remember like nearly everything.
Can you?
Yeah, because I've not done drugs and stuff.
Yeah,
for whatever reason.
So it's a bonus, yeah.
Yeah. I can remember like nearly everything. Like even when I stopped, I didn't have all my photos and outlines. I could actually memorize some of the outlines and remember which yards I'd done them in. So if I had to draw them again, like even now, there's an outline I've done at Northumberland Park. I could draw that out again, even though I don't have photographs of it.
What?
Because and I used to change my outlines all the time. Generally I wouldn't repeat outlines, you know, because I was out
And
there.
you just remember each. You snapshot memory.
Yeah, for some things, yeah.
And these happy snaps. Jesus, man, this is amazing.
Yeah, I don't know. If you keep a clear head and stuff, and you look after yourself, I think anyone can do that if you focus. Like,
But do you think that's part of the course of a seasoned graph writer, that to have that kind of razor sharp wit and.
Yeah, like musicians can remember words of songs. You know, they might wrote a song like 20 years ago. It doesn't mean they're going to forget the words of the song. You know, if it's in your mind, you know, and you're dedicated and that, you know, I think you can remember everything. Like, you know, because I've not had anything mess up my head as well. Like, you know,
It's good.
yeah,
It always occurs to me that the most prolific of writers, they often have these key attributes that yield them the distance. You know what I mean? Like they can go, and they may fall back or stop, but because they've got the coordinates patterned up, plugging back in, it's just get up and go again.
Yeah, see, with me, I'll set myself goals. So 89, I realised I'd pieced a lot of lines. I thought, I only have to do 1 or 2 more lines, and I've pieced all lines. Like, you know, so I can't remember what the final year, which ones were which. Possibly like doing a Jubilee and Docklands, I think it was, were like, and I thought, I've pieced all lines now.
Wow.
And then I was thinking to myself, what's my next target? I thought, I've done quite a few yards. You know, I've probably done about 25 of the different yards that are out there at the 38. I'm going to do all yards. No one's done it before. I'm going to do all yards.
What?
So, yeah. So I got back in the day we didn't have our Google Maps. We used to use A to Z's, and we used to I used to write the lines, double checking everything. Like, because if I was going to do this, you're just going to do it once because you don't know what's going to come in the future. Yeah. So. Yeah, I was looking at all the yards. Some of them were like tough yards to do, like, you know, because I'm not a Christmas Day type writer. Like, I'd want to do them on like an early or an all nighter or something. So like doing like Allgate on an all nighter and not on Christmas Day is a tough gig.
Yeah.
Or like Stonebridge, they used to park trains outside. There was a bit there they parked them outside, but when I was doing Stonebridge, they were all in the sheds. So I had to go in a piece in the sheds with security. Like now, people do that now, but back then, no one used to piece in the sheds.
Whole different kind of environment.
It wasn't a dumb thing, you know.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I was like, have I got, like, there must be more to the Victoria line than just like Northumberland Park, you know. So then I went down to, I used to do Northumberland Park a lot, you know, because I had a girlfriend that lived at Brimsdale. So I knew like Northumberland Park like really well. And I used to count the trains in. Like, yeah, so at the time it had like 46 trains, but now it's built new sheds and that, so it's probably like 60 or something. And I was like looking at the timetable and I found like some documentation saying there's 48 trains. I was thinking like, where are those other 2 trains? So I went down the line. I thought they've got to be at Brixton. Like, and I double looked at the timetable, and there was 2 trains pulling out of Brixton first thing that weren't pulling out of Northumberland Park. So I knew what time the first trains came out of Northumberland Park, and they couldn't have got down to Brixton in time. So I knew there must have been trains at Brixton. I went down there, looked at a platform. I thought, fuck, this is 9 now or never. I need to find out whether there's trains down there. And you can't see, like, if you run off the platform into a train tunnel, you don't know what's at the other end. You don't know how it's laid up. You don't know whether it's at a turning point or not.
Yeah.
But thankfully, it wasn't a turning point. I ran down there by myself, and I got to the end. It's a two layup, a connected two layup. I'm literally at the end. There was no lights on, like in like really, it's almost pitch black. There was a couple of like emergency lights on, and I've had to film my way up, and I found like the ladders.
I'm getting claustrophobic you even talking about this.
Yeah, so and then ladders the twist all the way up, and then I got to the top, and there's a emergency exit, and you come out of like by BR tracks. So I thought, I'm definitely doing this tonight.
Really?
Yeah. So I went round to Cherish's house. I didn't phone him, like, but I never used to use my phone anyway. We used to have a phone line at the house, but like, 'cause I'm a bit money conscious. I come from a poor family. I don't want to rack up my mum's bill and stuff, things like that. So that kind of benefited us anyway. So I went round Cherish's house. I found this yard, put on some really dirty, manky clothes that you don't care about.
Yeah.
And I said to him, like, knock me up on that line. I've never said this to him before, but he'd really come through. Like, his pieces, like, come through, because, like, I started bringing them yards at the end of '89. And, he'd learnt a lot, like, you know, and there's kind of a bit of a sign of respect, but also keep the pieces similar. I said, can you do me on that line?
Sick. Well, okay.
So I went to, Brixton. When about 2 o'clock in the morning, I said to him, I'll take the further in position because it closes off a little bit. It's a tougher to piece. Obviously, there's more risk for me as well. Like, I thought, he was like a year or two younger. I can't let him take that risk.
Of course, yeah.
You know,
I appreciate that.
I'd give him the space as well.
Yeah.
We done it, and then went back down station where the first train was supposed to be 6 o'clock. And I don't normally buzz off pieces. Like, I can do a piece. It's in the yard. Not necessarily take photographs. If I get photographs, that's nice. But I just let it run. Like, generally, I wouldn't travel with my pieces because the BTB would be travelling with them.
Yeah.
They'd see who gets on, who's taking photographs and stuff and that. So that's another thing that kind of like saved me. Get some writers that do a piece, they just want to sit in the train and feel nice about it. But like, the BT are watching you. Especially on like little Mets and Centrals. But I think we just rode it up like an hour now. We're taking like loads of photographs now. But I was literally telling passengers, I've done that.
Well, really?
Yeah. But I knew it was Victoria Line. They wouldn't really care. But like, when that rolled into Northumberland Park, they must have got a shock of their lives. They knew something was changing.
Oh, yeah, they probably
Like,
thought, how,
yeah.
for starters? Like, how did you know?
Yeah, and then, I'd done Allgate by myself. I asked the writer, who'd done the top to bottom there about 2 weeks before, what's the way in? And he pointed to this sheer wall. Like, I said, I'm a good climber. Like, I used to do rock climbing stuff as a kid and that. I said, like, that's not the way in. And he wouldn't tell me. So I had to go and find a way in myself. The way in, like, was mad. Like, you're walking above tracks and stuff. But
Really?
balancing, like, it's about 18 inches wide.
Sort of Tom Cruise Mission Impossible shit.
Yeah, definitely. So I've done Allgate. So another one I got lucky on, which is normally like a Christmas Day thing, was Edgware Road. I think there was me, Fuji, and some others were going somewhere. I can't even remember.
Oh, big up Fuji.
Yeah.
No.
So they do a lot of yards of Fuji Fabs in school and that.
Yeah,
Like,
big up, mega up East London, come on.
Yeah. East London was big.
Yeah.
We were going through Edgware Road on a Little Mets on the way to another yard, and I see the train laid up, and I think it was like a Sunday afternoon. And I said, I'm doing that. And we just, like, literally, there's passengers on the platform and stuff, but, like, we just jumped off the platform, and they bombed it, but I'd done a little piece on there, and obviously tagged the walls inside Edgware Road, so I got lucky on that. Because normally that'd be, like, a tough gig to do on all-nighter,
I can only imagine.
Yeah. And then my last yard, so I also done, like, London Road. I've done that by myself. That's another tunnel layup. I heard Rate saw that running live. I didn't get pictures myself.
Yeah, these tube lockups, man, they sound harrowing. Just going through small alcoves, knowing that you're so deep underground.
Well, the thing is, where I lived was next to a railway. So I grew up playing on the railways. Like I used to play on the embankments.
Gotcha.
You know, I used to build like camps on the railway embankments, and I used to go track walking well before I was even into graffiti. You know, I actually knew how to travel quickly through Bramble. You know, because like sometimes we'd have the police on the line because people were chucking stones at the trains and stuff. So there'd actually be police raids on the train line, not for graff.
Wow.
You know, but I knew how to travel quickly through Bramble. You know, from that.
Wow.
Like, you know, things like that. So like the railways didn't.
Some Viet Cong shit.
yeah. And over Hackney Downs, there's a train tunnel there. You can go under Hackney Downs. You know, and there's a train tunnel, and we used to do that as like 10, 11-year-olds.
Wow.
You know, just like for playing.
Yeah.
Like we used to play in derelict houses and things like that. You know.
Different times, you see. Different 80s were different.
Yeah, definitely. You know, you went out the door. Your parents didn't care where you were. Like, you know, as long as you were back before 10 p.m. Like as a 10 or 11-year-old, they didn't care.
That's crazy. That's
You
crazy
know.
to think now.
Yeah, very different times. So I've done Elephant and Castle. I think the last yard that we had to do, I found that on A to Z. I was like looking at the tracks and stuff, and it was Chiswick Works, which was just off it was called the North London line now. I think it's got a different name now.
Yeah, it's an overground.
So you can track walk it from the North London line. So I said to Mason Massacre, like, I found this yard. It's a walkover. Do you want to come and do it? And I saw them, some of them out with some paint. They had some paint, but I gave them some extra paint and stuff. And we done 3 top-to-bottom RCSs on the Jubilee. Didn't have any bother and stuff. Like, we done top-to-bottoms because it wasn't going anywhere. Like, I used to do mostly, like, window downs and panels because I'd want them to run.
Because they'd run more, right?
Yeah.
It's when you impact the windows and stuff like that, that's when it gets a bit sensitive to people.
Yeah. You know, if you're doing top-to-bottoms, you might get a morning out of it, if that. You know, the way I figured it is, the more writers that see pieces running, the more incentive they get, you know, and the more known you get. It's no good, doing a whole car that doesn't run. You know, it's only good for photos, you know. Yeah. But if you're putting pieces in front of people, you know, especially when it's unexpected, you know, like Rach saw that Begley running. Tyser told me the first Victoria Line piece he saw running was mine.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, you know.
Big up Tyser.
Yeah, you know, so, so once I'd done all yards, I thought, like, you know, what's the next step?
Yeah.
You know, I thought, right, I'm going to have it every train. Like, you know, but at this time, the police now were bringing in more security and stuff, especially, you know, the yards that used to get done a lot. But I just saw that more of a challenge. I said to other writers, don't go doing other yards, concentrate on the security yards, because then they'll see that the security's not working.
Yeah.
And they won't worry out to the other yards. Like I said, just, you know, I kind of like put it to them, like, you know, you're a tougher guy if you do the security yards.
Yeah, but I get the theory. I understand the theory there.
Well, yeah, it worked. You know, they kept trying to up it and stuff. So I started concentrating on just doing security yards. And like the centrals and the little Mets were buzzing. So I thought, there's a good scene there. I don't need to doing that. I can move on to other pastures and stuff. I'd like, you know, so so I switched to doing like a lot of bombing for a while until I had every carriage, like, you know, but like I would like just totally like rinse yards. And if it was like a security yard, I tend to do them by myself because I didn't want other people getting caught with me.
Yeah.
You know, if I get caught, RCS still goes on. Like, you know, that kind of way.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, you know, if...
Do you think it's solitary, you know, you're kind of doing it on your own? Is there a preference to that?
For certain situations, like, you know, I'll do what's needed. Like, you know, an army's not going to send a platoon in what an active service unit can do, or one man can do. If one man, an army man can go in like a refinery, send one man. Don't send in 20. You know, that can get taken out by a missile strike.
Yeah.
You know...
See, the military mindset.
Yeah, there's logic there. You know, I didn't want to risk RCS people and like in like people like Cherish and that, like who wasn't RCS, but I still want to risk them. Like, you know, so I won't risk them. But also there are benefits to doing it by yourself. There's less worry about, you look less like a gang and you can get away with a bit more. Like, you know, but it depends on, you know, the numbers and stuff. If there's 6 security guards there, they're going to definitely chase you. Yeah. But if it's 6 security guards against 6 writers, then they've got to think about it.
Yeah. So there are pros and cons. I guess.
Yeah. You have to weigh up with the yard and the situation and what your personal situation is and stuff. Like the way I did, like I felt to myself that I could afford to get caught a few times and I could deal with it. Like I wasn't scared of prison or nothing. Like even though I'd never been to prison, I knew people that had. You know.
Why weren't you afraid of that?
Because in my head, I said I was going to do as much graph as I could before 21 and get it dealt with by the law before I hit 21.
Right. Okay.
And that's exactly what I've done.
Really?
Like literally almost to the week.
Really?
Yeah, my court case finished like about 3 weeks before I turned 21.
Wow.
And you know, because the law changes, you get a bit more of a stiffer sentence after 21.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, so I said to myself, like, you know, even when I was speaking to Cherish and that, he was like a year or two younger, and I think I was saying to him, you're in the next category down. You could do a bit more.
Really?
Yeah.
You carry on topping up there.
Yeah. Literally, I was
Wow.
saying to them, they're not going to do what they're going to do to. They won't do to me what they will do to you. You know, because you're a year or two younger. You're down in that next bracket. Like I was saying to him, yeah, you can get away more than me, but I'm still prepared to take that risk.
Yeah.
You know.
Risk taking. Jesus. So we're at this point now where you have been caught. 21.
No, so I've been caught a few times, but like I got off with a lot of it. Yeah, like because I was always pushing the boat out. So I got caught in like Cherish Series, Sire, Taze, Check, Rest in Peace, and Pusher done Farringdon like the week before Christmas, and I was meeting a RCS writer in Moorgate. Didn't have anything on me. I was just walking through the underpass at Moorgate, and 2 BTP walked up to me and said, "We're arresting you for criminal damage." Pulled me into like the side office and stuff, searched me, didn't find anything and stuff, and they've hit me with a court case. So hit me with a court case, and so I was up with Siren Taze for doing Farringdon. And I was thinking, they've got nothing on me. I've done no comment interviews and stuff. Yeah, so I had a couple of early court dates in the early 90, and then one of the court dates was on my birthday. I didn't turn up for that on purpose. I thought, I'm not going court on there, and they'll probably drop it anyway. I went the following week and made some excuses. And they said, we're dropping it against you, but the other two have pleaded guilty. I think they found stuff at their houses.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Okay. But I felt like, yeah, you got nothing on me. I've done no comment interviews. You know, I haven't found any paint on me. You have nothing, no outlines, nothing, no photographs, nothing. Like I don't know how they knew who I was. Like, but it's not enough to know who I am. You have to prove it.
At this point, doesn't anything, you know, being faced with this unnerve you at all?
No, I'm quite good at dealing with stress and stuff. Like, you know, I can deal with big situations. You know, you have to. Like, you know.
So just water for ducks back. Just deal with it.
Yeah. Just deal with it there and then. Just you know, deal with the situation. Like I do a lot of thinking beforehand, like different scenarios and that, and like you know, I'll weigh everything up. But like at the end of the day, you can do a lot of planning, look at every different scenario. But at the end of the day, you still have to deal with it on the day. Like you know, and I felt I was big enough to do that. So then, yeah, I had 2 other court cases. Another one was Neasden. Yeah, there was 6 patrolling on there. I'd been bombing it all day. I could see them. Like there were three lots of pairs. And I was like, I could see them, but they can't see me type thing. Like the light was falling and stuff, and they weren't looking my direction and that. And I did a good few big Mets and Dupes, and I was just on my way out, and 2 of them just come around, like from the side of a train, started running towards me. But I'd literally just finished bombing, so they hadn't seen me bombing. Like, as I'm running along, I diverted to the side of the bushes, throw my cans deep into the gorse bushes there. So they weren't going to get recovered. But then I could see another 2 up ahead of me, and then I could hear the radios from behind, like shouting out there, go right. So there was another 2 coming from the right, another 2 from the left, and the 2 behind me.
Oh my God!
So, but I'd chucked everything by now. I just stopped, like where I was, and yeah, so 6 of them brought me into like a guard hut. Yeah, Met Police arrived, not BTP arrived. They've taken me to court. I looked at us. I've done no comment interview and that, and Yeah, none of the security guards said they said saw me do anything. The one that who chased me like first, like he'd done a statement, but the others didn't say they saw anything. But that security guard, I told him like, yeah, I'm going not guilty. I said I'm going to go to trial. He wouldn't turn up at court, and they put a warrant out for his arrest to make him to come up to court. He still wouldn't come.
What?
So I think he might have been like an illegal worker or something.
Wow.
Like,
Okay.
You know, and they said to me, "Oh, if you plead guilty for trespass, we won't do you for the criminal damage." I said, "I'm not pleading guilty to anything," and they dropped it.
Really?
Yeah. Another time, similar sort of thing in Stonebridge. Yeah, I'd literally just finished bombing, like rinsing Stonebridge. I used to rinse it. Like, if you want every Bakerloo, you're not going to get it from Queen's Park, and you're not going to get it from Elephant Castle. You have to rinse the big yards. Like, you know. Yeah, so similar sort of thing there. I was getting chased out of there just after I was finishing bombing. I managed to chuck my cans and caps inside one of the trains that its doors open, and they didn't notice while they were chasing me. Yeah, I've got about... Stonebridge's got a big long road because I run out the LT way. I've got like a good distance down there, but yeah, there was 4 of them behind me, and they eventually caught up with me. But everything had gone. Mm-hmm. So again, I got arrested by Met Police. I think it was like a Sunday evening, charged with criminal damage and that. They went back a few days later to get photographs, but the trains were being cleaned.
Look, man, you got the luck. I don't know how you're pulling things off that, you know, it's momentary. You're dealing in split seconds of this sort of...
Yeah, but I think the harder you try,
favour.
the luckier you get. It's the same with business. You know, you could have 10 business ideas, you know, 9 of them fail, but because you keep trying, you get up and you keep trying, you know, something's going to work. You know, and don't assume you're in the biggest shit of your life. Try and find a way of getting out of that. Like, you know, there's always... Well, it's not always a way, but you won't know if there's a way out until you try.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, so yeah, I just... my target then, like in 91 and through to 92, was just to have every carriage. And like 91, I felt like I had every carriage. Like, you know, maybe not every Docklands, because Docklands was... you couldn't get stains on Docklands.
Yeah, that's a whole different... Yeah, that was
But yeah, I spent a couple of Saturdays... because I used to have Saturday mornings off work, travelling the lines, and it's like I had lives or killer stains on every single carriage, and I went every single line, like you know, whether it's Bakerloos, Picks, Jubilees, you know, I had people saying to me, "Oh, you're on you know, the 9 o'clock news, 1 o'clock." They could not show a tube train without showing an ACRID.
Wow.
Like, you know, and if you've got every tube train, right, you've got an audience of 4 million people every day. That's bigger than any YouTube show.
Yeah.
You know, if you had 4 million YouTube views, you're doing all right.
Yeah.
You know, some TV channels don't have 4 million.
You can't mention it. That is so true. That is crazy coverage.
You know, if you've got every carriage, then you've got an audience of 4 million.
Yeah.
Like, even the police said that my final court case, they said, yeah, he's they said I was the most prolific in that, but they also said I'd become a familiar sight to commuters. The commuters knew who I was.
Yeah, you become part of the landscape.
Yeah, I was part of the fabric, you know. Also, like during like 1991, they didn't even change my tag for commuters. Like, make my tag used to sit underneath windows. So if you were sitting on a Jubilee, you could look at my tag on the Big Met, like as the train was passing you.
So you consider it, you see. Consider it to the commuters, you know. This is a service.
yeah, you know.
Wow.
Yeah, because I kind of look at like a multifaceted approach. Like, I'm not just like one thing.
And abstract. You know, you're not shy away from doing abstract on trains and tracks.
Yeah, so
right?
I was doing like abstract pieces in like 1991.
Yeah.
Like, and I was changing my outlines every single time. I'll do like fresh outlines. Like, to me, it's not about refining it and doing the same piece over and over again. Like, I'll be like trying to break new styles all the time. Like, you know, try and influence other people. Like, you know, yeah, it's no good everyone just doing the same style. Like, to me, that,
no,
I'd lose interest.
Yeah. Stamp.
Yeah. Like, I'll be breaking out new ideas. You know.
But this also inspired prospects, people that were coming through RCS at the time, because you mentioned before camera, you know, there was a lot of writers in the ranks that, you know, were just on the come up.
Yeah. So we'd bring writers through, and not necessarily even RCS writers. We'd bring other writers through. Like, they might not make like the grade to be in RCS or be down with RCS, but we still bring them through anyway. Like, you know, we'd constantly be bringing new writers through, like, because the game is bigger than us. Like, you know, you want people to be coming behind you, like, you know, because I felt I wasn't going to write forever, but I wanted to have an impact on there. I wanted to go for intensity as opposed to like longevity. Like, I didn't want to go for the trickle. Yeah, I wanted to go for the impact. Like, you know, I felt. You know,
But what motivated you?
What motivated me? I felt like I was angry at a lot of things, but like things that you wouldn't expect.
Give me
Like,
an example.
So, like.
What social problems?
Yeah, social things. So like, so I grew up in Hackney and that. There was always shit going on around me with like things happening to girls, guys getting taxed for their wages, paedophiles on the streets and stuff. And the police are chasing little old me. And that was just making me more angry. You're putting all these resources into me, and there's bigger shit going on.
Yeah.
Like my estate was like, it was pretty rough. It was like one of the first.
Graffiti was probably your exit plan, right?
Yeah. But like, I could have had other exit plans. I could have gone like middle class and gone to university and all that kind of stuff. But that wasn't my cup of tea either. Like, you know, even at 16, I'd figured out like, you know, I'm going to be self-employed for the rest of my life, so I'm not going to have to worry about a criminal record. Like, I'd figured that out. Like, you know, and I use graffiti as like my vehicle to like prove a point. And I think the way the court case and that panned out. Like, I think I did, like, you know, but there's other things that were making me angry. There was, like, legal graffiti was making me angry because the legal scene was, like, trying to pretend, like, trains didn't exist type thing, you know. Graffitism was getting bigger and all wrapped up in waterstones. Yeah, like, we'd send off, like, photographs and eggs off to, like, certain magazines and they wouldn't publish them. There'd be just legal stuff, halls of fame. And to me, like, halls of fame will never have. It doesn't have heart, and it won't have any really big impact on graph.
Well, it's the adrenaline as well. It's that, you know,
yeah, and it's not really a culture.
It's a whole different feeling, isn't it?
Yeah, like doing the Hall of Fame to me is like going fishing. Like, you know, you take a picture of the £10 carp you caught, and you do it every Sunday, and sometimes it's the same carp.
Yeah. I mean, each to their own as well, you know, because it's all for the good. But I know what you mean. If it's not represented on balance, then there's a problem, isn't there? Because you've got to. There has to be a hat tip to the rawest and the people that are really risking their lives.
Yeah, I think like illegal graffiti, they're the ones that have got real heart. They believe in it, but it doesn't mean they can't innovate as well.
Yeah.
You know, just because you do illegal graph, it doesn't make you an artist. You know, to me, like, art has to connect with people. Like, you know, I felt like a lot of my graph did.
Did you consider yourself an artist?
Yeah, I think I think I was on that level. Like,
for sure.
Yeah.
I'm not asking on that level. I'm talking about because, you know, there's a mindset of like either it's criminal damage and vandalism, or it's one angle, or maybe it's both. But then there's the artist's perspective, and you're saying you were more the art. You were more.
Yeah, I didn't really think of it in monetary value, or I wasn't doing it because it was illegal. It's because it's what I wanted to do. Like that, the trains were just like my canvas. That's the canvas I chose. Like, you know,
wow, yeah.
Yeah, you know, it didn't matter who owned them.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I didn't do it because I didn't own the trains. You know, if I had owned them, I probably would have still done it. I wanted that big audience. You know, 4 million a day is a big audience. You know, but I was communicating with loads of people. You know, like on the central lines, I'll be. Like I was trying to battle writers on all lines all at once. Like so for instance, like central lines, I was battling Rain and Son in '89, and then '90 BAP and Era came through, and they were West London, and I was battling them from east sides.
Wow.
You know, so they'd be bombing from their sides. Yeah. There'd be like messages going back and forth on the trains. You know?
Wow.
But then when East Side RCS came onto Little Met, because I was already batting on Little Met, like Fret Note and Amp and them lot, they thought like, oh, fuck, like RCS are big on Little Mets already, like because they hadn't really come off the centrals, like, you know. And then when people pop into Little Mets, oh yeah, ACRID's already there, like, you know. But then, like, even like now, I've people say to me like, oh yeah, I remember you got your lives and your stains and your pieces run on Bakerloo's. Like nothing used to run on like Bakerloo's, like, you know. I'd like, you know, they couldn't show a tube train literally on the news without showing them like an ACRID. Yeah, like, you know, mad. Like the police knew the coup. Like, and I was sending some messages to the police and stuff. You
Yeah?
know? Yeah. The police like loved it. Like I've done an abstract piece at Woodford. Didn't say ACRID on it at all. Like I signed it. You know, they're pulling it at me in an interview, and obviously I'll do like no comment interviews, and they say to me, "Oh, and this one here says ACRID. There's the A. There wasn't like there," and I'll just be smirking at them, and they goes, "Oh, accused raises eyebrow."
Really?
Yeah, because I didn't want to speak.
Yeah. Okay. So you know,
You know,
he,
they're
he
trying
poised
to
in curiosity and
Yeah,
raised
yeah.
one eyebrow. And wow.
Yeah, they're trying to get a reaction out of me.
Yeah.
Like, you know, yeah, another one I've done at like Loughton, beside it, I wrote, give me an inch, I'll take a yard.
Oh my God.
And the police read that back to me. But they were laughing to themselves. Like, they were looking at each other and chuckling. Like, you know, because they knew the message was for them.
That's the hardest.
You know.
That's amazing.
Like, the message was, if you're stupid enough to give me bail,
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it.
Wow.
Like, and the police knew the message. Like, you know.
Man, this was
But like,
war.
yeah, it was proper war. But like, because I was rinsing yards so much. So for instance, I've done like Stonebridge or Northumberland Park or Cockfosters or something. If I rinsed it, they couldn't record that as one crime. They'd record that as like 6 crimes over 2 weeks because
Okay.
they'd be cleaning like 5 trains at a time.
Right.
But I was working, so that's another thing. I was different from other writers. I was always working, like, you know. Yeah, so they might record that as 6 criminal damages, but I only done it on the one night. But because I rinsed it, you know, so on my court case, they were saying, "Oh, he done so and so on that night. He done so and so on that night." And I was like, "No, I was working all those nights. You know, I've got like 500 witnesses, whoever was many at my workplace.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Wow.
so I was like, I was messing up with their court case, like, you know, yeah, like while I went on the run, they were still recording criminal damage, even though I'd been out of the country for 3 or 4 weeks. Like, because I'd smashed it before I left.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, and again, don't try this at home, people. You know, this is back in the day. It's all retrospective, and it's a nice story. There are repercussions, and sometimes they can be as equally, you know, taxing on your time in jail as it is life-threatening.
Yeah, so, yeah, I got remanded about 3 times. Yeah, that was funny, and there was a lot of shit happened there as well. First time I've done 2 weeks at Bethnal Green in the police station because Felton was full up. Yeah, so that was a little bit tough because obviously
Yeah,
because you're not out of cell.
Yeah.
And you're getting police station food, which is worse than prison food.
Yeah. 2 weeks of that. Wow.
Yeah, then I made bail, and the funny thing at the time was the more graffiti I'd done, the more they kept changing the charges. So I get 2 bail applications when they would like because they kept laying more charges on me. So one time I was up like for 15 charges, then the following week I'd be up on 24 charges. I'll get another 2 bail applications. So then, but I didn't have any like previous at that time either. You know, so it's like they're going to judge. Oh, we know it's him that's doing this, but we haven't got much proof. But we just know it's him. Like, we're pressing all these charges, but we haven't got any actual proof. Like, so the judges didn't really want to refuse me bail. Like, you know, but at some points I must have run into a judge who didn't like me because I got a further 3 months remand in Feltham. First time I got remanded to Feltham was the first night. It kind of throws you a little bit. Like, even though you've got experience with police and all that, it does throw you out a little bit. So it takes you like a day or 2 to find your feet and stuff. Yeah, so like Feltham was kind of crazy. Like the second time was crazier. Like people knew me from the first time, but like the first time, I was bumping into people who I knew in that because I was like from Hackney and stuff. And oh yeah, I went to school with you, and oh yeah, I went to play centre with you, and you know so and so, don't you?
It's amazing.
So yeah, I was all right in there. I didn't have like too much bother or anything. I just kind of knuckled down. But that actually, it was good for me because it gave me a break from graph, but also gave me a break from work as well because I've been working like long hours. So to be honest, it felt like I was just recuperating and recharging my batteries.
Wow.
Yeah, and then at some point I made bail. I think what the police were trying at the time, which had worked before, is they'd give graffiti writers a short shock. They've done it with like tilt and coma.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Like, we'll give you 2 or 3 months, and then we know you're going to stop. You know, but they gave me bail after 3 months, and I went back on it, like showing them that's not going to work. I'm a tougher guy. Like, you're going to have to do more.
Wow.
I'm going to do more. You'll have to do more. You bring it on.
Wow.
So,
Boy.
So they try. Some RCS and some SAS got bagged on a train on the way to Morden. They had stuff on them, and they're like basically they got locked inside the train, and then BT were waiting for them. Like they got locked inside the tunnel, and then when pulled in there, the BT were waiting for them. So 7 of them got bagged, and then that got dragged into my court case because they said some of them were RCS. So they said there was 2 conspiracies. They were changing my charges from being criminal damages to 2 conspiracies, which carry 5 years each.
Wow.
So it was 190 accounts of criminal damage. 95 were for me, and 95 were for the other 7.
What?
But mine were like all yards.
Wow.
Theirs was a mixture of like insides and tracks and a few trains.
That's crazy coverage.
Yeah. So, and even then, on 95 charges, thought, yeah, that's a result. Like, you know.
No mercy.
Yeah,
no mercy. Wow.
But like, yeah, the reason I've done that is because they were trying to force it up to Crown Court.
Yeah.
So, so I got reminded again. But this time when I went back, it was like, people remembered me from the first time I was in there. And because I'd been bombing in between, I was even getting more exposure and stuff. Felton was mad. Oh, yeah, so yeah, when I got reminded, this is the funniest story. I had this sort of feeling that I was going to get remanded, so I put hacksaw blades in my trainer tongue, my trainer tongues.
Yeah.
I put hacksaw blades in them. I've been through police searches at the police station that they didn't find them. So I went to this wing, can't remember what it was. It might be an Osprey or something. And I had this other guy in my cell who was a little bit younger than me, but he was in for burglary. But he wasn't. He was like a bit of a wuss or whatever. I said, I'm going to try and break out tonight. I said, for like you watch out the door, keep your ear to the door. Like, you know, this is like 2:00 in the morning. I didn't have any real big plan to break out. But I just wanted to show them, like, the coup.
Wow.
So, yeah, I got my hacksaw blades, cut through the top of one bar, and then I started cutting through the bottom of the bar because you'd have to lever it down. And the other guy was supposed to be listening at the door, but we just got rushed by about 5 or 6 screws. And they, like, 4 of them just, like, jumped me. They weren't that bothered about him. Obviously, because I'm now with the hacksaw blades.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, so anyway, so that was mad. So yeah, they took me down to segregation cells like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, stripped all my clothes off, put me in a seg cell, like a isolation cell on the seg unit.
Wow.
Like, there'd be like, I think it was like 10 cells, but 2 of them were like isolation cells. They had plastic windows and stuff, and they'd push the food underneath the door, like not even hatches. So they stripped me naked. I was the only one in there. Yeah, and I was just fuming. I was thinking like, yeah, bring it on. So it's like, so next day they put food underneath the door. I pushed it back at them, and I was like naked.
Still naked.
Still naked. Yeah, still naked. And they were saying, you're gonna be a good boy and all this. You're gonna be nice and all this. Like, no. I said no. And I started pushing the food back at them. They started banging the door and started like threatening me and all that stuff. So literally, I'd done a dirty protest on them.
Stop it.
Yeah, literally. Literally for about 2 or 3 days, I was literally like throwing it at the hatch and at the plastic window. Like I wasn't ramping.
Wow.
Like it was crazy.
Have you ever heard anything of like that on the podcast before? Ever?
Yeah, because I'm from an Irish background, I know all about dirty process. You know, and I'd read one of the books in there. Like, it's a book called 10 Men Dead. Like, it's like one of the most serious books you'd ever read in your life. Like, it gets you.
Wow.
Like, you know, it's written by the prisoners.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so I knew all about that, and like I was showing them I wasn't ramping. So, so like after 3 days, like the main governor from Felton came down to me and he goes like, we're not going to charge you with trying to escape. Like, as long as you get your clothes back on and that, and we're going to put you on one of the wings, like, and stuff. So, yeah, they gave me my clothes. I didn't eat for about 2 or 3 days either. They gave me my clothes, took a shower first, obviously.
Yeah. It's a dirty game being in a 6 cells, man.
Yeah. So, yeah. They gave me my clothes and that. And then the funniest thing happened is they put me on a dorm cell on kitchen. Like, I went to this wing, there's like 68 prisoners. Like, normally, if they put me in stripes. Like, so everyone knew I'd tried to escape, and they knew what happened, like, you know, a few days before.
Wow.
and they put me on a dorm cell, like a kitchen cell on servery. Like everyone's mouths just dropped. Like, because normally they'd put you in a single cell because they still want you to calm down for another week or 2 weeks. They put me on servery. Like, you know, so there's there's weird stuff happening. So so I'm on servery, and then like when you're server, you get all of these perks. Like you get to eat all the leftover food, and then you get to go to when there's free places on the gym. Like if people don't want to come out go to the gym, you get the free places at the gym. So I started going to the gym like 2-3 times a day, and I was eating like 4 or 5 breakfasts every morning, couple of dinners. So I started putting on like loads of muscle. Like literally within about 6 to 8 weeks, I'd put on like about a stone or so of muscle. I had stretch marks on my arms. I was like, it was even changing my walk. I started like,
a bit swag.
Yeah, like not on purpose. Yeah. Like and every time there I was like, I was like I'm lifting more heavier weights and all that shit.
It's insane. Wow.
Yeah, and then the weirdest shit is like so I had a court appearance where they brought me up there in stripes and that. And then the next one, they gave me bail. I thought, like, I've tried to escape from your prison. Like, I think the police got spooked by seeing how I changed.
Yeah.
Like,
In transformation.
I think that they thought they were making me too hardened and stuff. Like, because I made bail at the next appearance. I thought, that's odd. Like, but there was like a few like odd things happening there. But also, because I was a server and stuff, I had to run to the prison. So I'd have little chocolates everywhere. All the other wings, all the wings I wasn't on. Like, and also, because I've been there before, I was like quite famous in there.
Yeah.
Like, everyone knew me, or I knew people they knew. Like, there was times there, like, so there was like 70 people on the wing. I remember one time I went out to everyone on the through the day. I was like chatting to everyone, and it's like I told them what I was. Oh yeah, I've heard of you. Oh yeah, you're from Hackney. Do you know so and so? Yeah, I know him. Do you know so and so? It's like literally, I knew everyone that someone else knew on there.
Wow.
Which is like it's kind of crazy. I ever knew like people from Pirate Radio or from Hackney or from Graff or family, like not my family, but like extended family type thing, like that type of thing. So it was and like when I was in there, I'd be reading like a book a day, like finish a whole book in one day type thing. Other free time was playing pool. There's another time I was playing pool in there for 2 hours, and like prison pool was different. The games last about 5 minutes. Everyone's taking their shots like really quick. I swear on like one day I went through 30 prisoners. I won every single game.
All right.
Yeah, I got that good at pool. Because you're playing it all the time. There's a couple of games I lost because I won because they played the black and the white or something. But like there was still like 28 games on a row.
Wow.
Like people normally say like, oh come on, you've been in it long enough like that. But because I was on a server, I was like quite henchman and stuff. Like there was like they were saying it to me.
Don't fuck with him.
Yeah,
he's a pool pro.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. Like but yeah. So I made bail then, but then I went straight back into work, and I kind of lost a bit of the weight anyway, like from working long hours and stuff. Because I was just getting cash in and doing girls and stuff, and that kind of way. Like
there's obviously a shelf life to Graff and that kind of high intensity behaviour.
Yeah.
Looking back on it now, what do you regret the most? Do you regret anything?
Nothing
at all.
There's a few things I do regret. Some I didn't do enough. Like
that's what every Graff writer says on the podcast. So we didn't do enough.
No, do you know what? So like a Hammersmith, we used to hear from the west side that was a really hot yard. Like I said, Cherish, do you want to come Hammersmith? Let's do it. Yeah. It was the biggest piece of piss ever. Like I wish I.
Really?
Like, just like been there every week or every 2 weeks or something.
Wow.
Like got more pieces running on the little Met, because it was just like, I thought it was like one of them yards where the workers would be working all night, but it was just like. It was empty, but but basically what my plan was to get everything dealt with before I turned 21.
Yeah, that's right.
And I hit bang on target for it, and with
smashing star in the sky, it just implodes, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So I think I beat the police at their own game. Like, they were trying to do things with Graff, and like I overrun them, like and RCS did, and the people that came through with us as well. Because it wasn't just about RCS. Like we'd run with a lot of other writers as well. Like we'd bring people through and like make sure all the yards were like cool and stuff and that. Like so like 90 and 91 were like the best years really for graph. There was pieces running everywhere, like, you know, especially like Mets and Centrals.
Yeah.
But like I had pieces running on all lines. There was one time writers were telling me they were sitting at Edgware Road, and I had about 2 pieces running earlier in the week from on the Little Met. But like me and Massacre decided to go Barking, piece separate trains, and Term had gone to Farringdon, who was also RCS. So there was writers telling me on Edgware Road, like saying that, and I said there was pieces coming on every train that came through. There's one train came in there had an RCS piece, and another train there came through and had an RCS piece.
Wow.
But
That's a golden era.
yeah, but I was also doing other lines as well. So if they had looked on, you know, Jubilees or Pix or Vix or something, they would see my pieces running there. But like, because people were concentrated on the Little Mets, like, you know, and then. Yeah, so we were battling security and stuff. So that was like really cool. But what happened in late '91 is everyone else discovered Amsterdam, and loads of writers went to Amsterdam because it was like a party over
It's a
there.
hot spot, yeah.
Yeah, you know, they were like chucking paint at you and yeah, come and paint our trains type thing. But like '92, I stepped up my bombing. You know, I was still doing pieces and stuff. Yeah, in '92, it felt like I was the only writer in town, like literally. Like, you know, I felt kind of like bad, but I thought I had to carry on through. If I can keep pushing this, there's going to be bigger stuff coming up behind me, you know. And then '93, I had my court case finalised, and I think that helped Graph, because the amount of publicity my court case had. Yeah, I hit the front of the national newspapers, like TV, radio, everywhere. I'd done TV interviews and stuff,
Wow.
like on BBC Breakfast and things. Like,
Wow.
you know, yeah, it totally smashed the publicity.
Wow.
You know, yeah, it was like crazy times. But even with the publicity, I liked it, but I didn't like it. So 'cause I was getting recognised in the street and stuff. Yeah, the publicity. So I hit the Even Standard. I think it was on a Friday. So I was in the late editions of the Even Standard. And I was working in a pub. And there was literally customers there reading the Even Standard. And they'd look at the paper and they go, "Is that you?"
What a life.
Like,
what a
you know,
life to have that happen.
Yeah, you know.
crazy.
And it happened like multiple times. And then, yeah, it splashed across all the Saturday papers because it happened like on the Friday morning, afternoon. And again, like I was on the front of the Daily Mail and stuff, and like there was same customers, like, you know, the area manager of the pub. Like I told my manager that what I was going to court for. I said, "Yeah, I'm going to court for a bit of graffiti," and he was like, "Oh yeah, all right, fine." Not a big deal because he didn't realise the scale of it.
Yeah.
And yeah, so he was telling me a story about it as well. He came down that afternoon. And he said, "Oh, my area manager's phoned up and he said, it says barman from East London says, isn't he the one that works for us in that pub there?" He goes, "Yeah." Everyone was saying he nearly choked on his breakfast.
Wow.
Yeah. And they said, "Can we get rid of him?" He goes, "No, I don't want to get rid of him. He's a great worker."
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
They were promoting me.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I was working my way up the thing there.
People want to go to this pub where the successful, you know, antagonist.
But I was
works
like, I was a really good worker.
Yeah.
Like I could do the work of 3 or 4 people because I have that kind of like ethic.
Yeah.
Of doing a lot or being the best.
Oh, you can tell without
Like,
question.
you know, I'll take that into other fields. Like, you know, try and work. I have a different angle. Work hard. You know, you know, work ethic carries you a long way. Yeah, but if you mix it in with a few other things, like thinking outside the proverbial
Creatively,
box,
yeah.
creatively and different angles, then and you mix that with work ethic, you can do well in life, like, you know. But the biggest thing that graffiti taught me is what I can achieve and how to measure risk. Like, you know, I knew the risk I was taking, you know, and I knew I could deal with it, like, you know, and I could overcome, like, you know, like graffiti taught me what I can achieve. You know, so I was going like for intensity, not like longevity.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I want to have like impact, you know, but then go and do other things in my life.
Nice.
Like, you know.
I think that's a sentiment. That's a fucking great Jerry Springer sign off, actually, because we really must. But that's a great sentiment, and one I think that should be honoured in the same respect. And like you say, it's a youthful skill set to develop that can then be transferred into, you know, whether it's productive things in the community or not. You know, it's a skill set that you have to adopt the mind for.
Yeah. I'd like, like for me, I'm not one of those type of people that can do the same thing for 30 years. Like, you know, yeah, I like to have impact. Like, you know, you get people, they do sports for X amount of years, then they become managers or they do something else. Like, you know, I'm not that person that could do the same thing. You know, I'll do what I can there and then and get the most out of it. And then, you know, because life moves on.
Yeah.
Like, there's other things to do with your life.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
And it's short as well. The runway gets shorter as we get older.
Yeah, you know, and even the things I said to myself I wanted to achieve afterwards, I've done them. You know, I said I wanted to do X, Y, and Z at 21, X, Y, Z at 25. I achieved them. X, Y, Z at 30. Yeah, if I set myself to achieve in other avenues, and I achieved them.
So
like,
good.
You know,
it's inspiring, man. It's inspiring. I hope it inspires you guys out there.
Yeah.
You know.
But like, yeah, I felt I was helping to drive it forward. Like I showed that all yards can be done. They can all be done with security, like as well. You know, like I was getting in '92. I was getting interviewed by the police and that, and I just done Ricky's 5 with security, tremor alarms, beams, and that. And they're interviewing me about it. They said, yeah, and so this was done in Rickmansworth and that, and there was like, you know, they're trying to make a bite in that, and I said, the fences aren't to keep you out, they're to keep you in, like, because they're trying to get a reaction out of me. But I'll tell you something funny. One of the pubs I was working in, the contract manager, like, I used to chat to customers, and he said, oh yeah, I work on the London Ground. I said, whereabouts? Like, and I'd have this conversation like loads of times. They'd say, oh yeah, I work at so and so. But he said, I work all over. So I said to him, what do you do? He goes, I'm a contract manager, putting all this new security in. Like, literally, the guy was from Northern Ireland. Like, so what they'd done, he'd had the experience of what was happening in Northern Ireland, and they brought that over.
Right.
Like, you know, yeah, so he was telling me about how everything worked, like how the beams worked and the pressure pads worked and about the tremor alarms and stuff. So I knew how to get into yards without, you know, setting off the beams.
Wow.
You know, I did tell other people, but whether that got passed around or not, like, is a different thing. Like, you know, so like the police couldn't even figure out how I got into yards. You know, and like me, like I'm a bit different. It's like I would never cut a hole in the fence. Like, you know, I'd find other ways of getting in because, like, I've got some stupid set of morals. It's like I don't want a random kid to come through that hole in the fence and something happen to him. Like, not necessarily a graph kid.
Yeah, got you.
Like, that kind of thing. I'll try and find other ways in. And also, if you cut holes in fences, you can't leave in the trail.
Yeah, got you.
You know.
Wow.
Yeah, for the police. Like, you know, because if they have reports in there, now they're where to wait for you.
See, stuff like that.
You know, things like that. Like, you know, so you got to kind of think of it like that. You know, I know people have got a bag. They've gone through certain ways. You know, they've got seen in the yard, and then the police just go to the way everyone goes in or goes out of that yard. You know, I'd look at yards with fresh eyes every time. Oh, is there a different way in? Is there a different way out? I'd go into a yard one way and come out a different way. Like, because you could only go in. It was a one-way trip to go in, and it was a one-way trip out.
You're under the age of 21, man. That's crazy. That
Yeah, so there was this one time I was doing yard. I was supposed to do it with someone else, but someone else couldn't make it. I said, like, you know, do you want to come to this yard Saturday afternoon? I've done the yard before, like, obviously back in the day. And, yeah, they made excuses. I went to look at the yard. I walked around it, and I was looking for different ways in and stuff. I noticed this Arctic lorry parked right by the razor wire fencing. I was thinking, yeah, I can get on top of that lorry, jump over the other side. So it's going to be a 20-foot jump, like, you know, 5 foot out, and then 20 foot down on the other side. You know, as long as I land correctly, like how you do in parkour, you roll into it type thing. And that would bring me right up near the shed door. So, yeah, so I've done that. I had the minimum amount of paint, all capped up, ready to go in the carrier bag. They have a mask on, nothing, because generally they don't put cameras in sheds because the workers don't like it.
Really?
Because the workers don't like getting spied on.
Wow.
So you find unions won't let the LT put the cameras inside the sheds.
Wow.
Like, you know. Yeah, so I went in this shed Sunday afternoon. I think there was about 10, 12 trains in there. So I've gone about 2 trains in. I've started walking down. They've all got their doors open. And I look down, and there's a trolley in between the 2 trains. And I'm carrying my bag behind me. Like, I can't just move it behind me. And about 50 yards down, this head pops out. And I thought, this could get a bit awkward. So I literally just turned around, but I've kind of turned the carrier bag with me so he doesn't see it. I've just walked down back to the end of the trains, and I've gone further into the same shed. About 8 trains in, I've gone in there. I've got like pillars either side of me, so that give me a little bit of coverage. I've done my piece. I've gone inside. I thought, right, how am I going to get out of this yard safely? I've checked another way out. So I've gone inside. I climbed inside in between the cabins, got inside the train. I've walked my way through to the front of the train. I'm just opening the door of the front of the train as the security guard standing right in front of me.
Fuck.
Like, literally. But like, I've opened the door on him, and he's in shock because he's not expecting that. So he doesn't move. And I just hit the ground running.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like that time, if you jump out on someone, they freeze.
Yeah.
Like, it was literally, he was about 2 or 3 foot away from me, but he just froze because he really expected me to come out.
Yeah.
And I started running. It took him about 10, 15 seconds
That's
to
enough.
realise. And he started shouting at me. And I got this way out. So I'm running down tracks, and there's cables that take over the security fencing. So I've climbed the girders and the cables there, and I've climbed across there, and they stop. But I'll check this out already. They stop just before the security fencing, but there's trees on the other side, like like that go up about 15, 20 foot. So I know that. So I've jumped from the girders across the razor wire fencing into the branches, and I've used the branches to break my fall. Like, because I wouldn't be able to do that jump straight down.
Yeah, no.
So I've used them to slow my fall down. Like, but yeah, that was like a one-man mission.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a nice photo of it. Yeah, and it was done by myself. Like, but I'm the kind of person, if other people aren't coming with me, I'm still going that
Rock and
yard.
rolling anyway.
But I used to do like mad shit. Like, if it was raining, I'd check what the wind direction was like.
Yeah.
Because I'd know one part of the train would be getting wet, but the security wouldn't be coming out either.
Yeah.
Like, so, I might go, like, oh, is it westward wind? Oh, yeah, I can go to that yard there. The rain's only going to hit one side. That kind of thing,
You're different gravy.
Yeah,
You're different gravy.
Yeah, I went and done Queen's Park on the windiest night of the year, like on purpose. Because like the police were like really on my case, but I thought there's no way to follow me. But there's tolls falling all around my head and stuff. Like the worse the weather, I thought
The better for.
yeah, better. They're not chasing you like if there's snow on the tracks or or if it's raining or whatever.
Wow, of a bygone era of Graff, you really did take it to the mountain, and I guess it's one of those charming stories of dedication for such an intense period of time that's yielded, like, people talk now about ACRID and this, I've got a mystique of a time. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think I've got a mystique because I didn't hang around with the graffiti crowd afterwards. That's not my thing. I moved on and done other things. Like, I wasn't in that. I didn't want to be in that circle. Like, there's a graph circle. Like, I didn't want to be part of that. That's not my thing. I didn't do graph to be popular amongst the inner circle. I've done graph for my own reasons and like for the crew and the Hackney guys and stuff. Whether it be RCS and Cherish and there was some CMS and and the East London heads like Fuji and Fabs and stuff and the Central Line like Fretnote and Kate and all of them. Like, we were all in it together. Like but we got on with like everyone. Apart from a few certain people who didn't like us. But like we didn't do nothing to them. They just didn't like our fame. Like,
Right.
they didn't like how we worked. Like, no yard was out of bounds for us. Like, so, like, we were on it. Like, and we were bringing people through all the time,
It's good podcast, isn't it? Hey, don't get better than this. Thank you so much for joining me, brother.
Yeah,
Honestly, ACRID, and part of the ever-growing catalogue of podcasts, which, man, very humbled that you joined us. Thank you so much, brother.
Yeah, I felt my story had to be told, because there's not always great guardians of history. Like, the work was done.
Yeah, the work was done.
So it should be respected, really.
For real. That's what we're here for. Killa Kela podcast. Our like him is out of fashion. Remember, sharing is caring. Tell a friend to tell a friend. ACRID tells you so. All right. Remember, crime don't pay, but neither do they. All right. So you stay lucky. Look after each other. Don't talk to anyone I wouldn't. Peace.
There you go.
baby. There you go. There you go.